You think zombies are just goofy, hoppin' clowns? You think ancient tombs are just full of dusty jars and trinkets? One look at your burning hot daughter in your arms, one whiff of that sickly sweet stench on the wind, and you'll realize just how dead wrong you are. Now, step into the shoes of a desperate father. Watch as the century-long drought during Emperor Jiaqing's reign doesn't just crack the central plains, but tears open the very gates of hell. During the Jiaqing era of the Qing dynasty, a devastating drought ripped through the heart of China. In your county, the wells have long dried up. Corpses litter the land, and driven by despair, the villagers dig into a tomb mentioned in the old county records. A tomb said to hold the darkest yin. The moment it's opened, a cold black wind howls out. That same night, the tomb keeper is found sucked dry like a husk. And when the first corpse, covered in white fur and sporting razor-sharp fangs, bursts through the darkness and charges into a village, you're curled up in a crumbling temple, clutching your feverish daughter, shaking in terror. The magistrate's swords and arrows are a joke against the creature. The soldiers, just meat for its feast. A half-dead Taoist tells you, that's no ordinary zombie. That thing's fed on the earth's purest yin. It's a flying jiangshi. He pauses, staring hard at your daughter. Normal methods won't kill it. Unless his clouded eyes fix on the child in your arms. Blood of kin, offered in fire, to burn out the curse. You look down at your daughter's flushed little face. Her tiny fingers are clinging to your collar. The cracked earth moans beneath your feet, each step kicking up clouds of choking dust. Above you, the sky is a slab of red-hot iron, hanging over a suffocating gray dome, too stingy to offer even a drop of rain. You hold Xiaoman close. Her body burns like live coal, scorching your palm through the thin cloth. Her shallow, dry breaths fall hot against your neck, each one tightening the knot in your chest. The town has long become a ghostly ruin. The wells gape like bottomless mouths, and the dead curled up where they fell are dragged through the streets by desperate, starving dogs. The air reeks of dust, decay, and a silence so thick it strangles. Even crying has become rare. Those who remain alive stare with hollow, numb eyes, teetering on the edge of madness. In your arms, Xiaoman murmurs deliriously. Papa water, her parched little lips barely moving. Your throat feels like it's packed with sand. Not a word can make it out. You just hold her tighter. Press your own cracked lips to her burning forehead. There's nothing left in the house, not a scrap. Even the last bit of coarse rice porridge went to her. You drag your leaden legs forward, just trying to find a patch of shade anywhere she can suffer a little less. Half the mountain god's temple has collapsed, its mud statue crumbling, revealing a fierce wooden frame beneath. Its hollow eyes gaze down indifferently upon this forsaken land. You curl up behind what's left of the statue, the only corner still blocking the wind. Despair winds around your heart like frozen vines, squeezing tighter and tighter. Suddenly, a distant noise, chaotic and frenzied, rises from the direction of the town. The hot wind scatters it, but the madness in it is unmistakable. Dig. Dig it up. The Dragon King has spoken. The records say there's water below, a vein of water. Your heart lurches. The records? That tomb. A memory jolts you old family warnings from childhood about a forbidden burial ground west of town, said to hold a violent general from the previous dynasty. His tomb lies in a place cursed with the deepest yin. It must never be disturbed. A chill, like a venomous snake, slithers up your spine. Don't dig you. Whisper hoarsely, barely audible. You'll bring doom, but that madness, that desperate frenzy, it spreads like wildfire. drowning your quiet warning with its roar. Hunger and thirst have long smashed through the dam of reason. By dusk, the shouting reaches a peak. Then, abruptly, eerily, it falls silent. A silence deeper and more unsettling than ever before. Then, out of nowhere, the wind shifts not hot this time, but bitterly cold. It carries a stench of rot and damp earth, as if something buried for centuries has been unearthed, mingled with a faint, metallic sweetness, like rusted blood. The wind spins through the ruined temple, whipping up bones and dust, slapping your face, creeping under your thin clothes. You shiver violently, clutching Xiaoman tighter. She stirs in your arms, clearly sensing the sudden chill. That foul wind brushes your skin like cold, slimy tentacles. Your teeth chatter uncontrollably. A primal, bone-deep fear grips you, the kind born of facing an evil older than time. Xiaoman whimpers and twists in your arms, unsettled. That night stretches on endlessly, bitter cold. At the crack of dawn, a scream rips through the stillness, from the direction of town, like cold water thrown into boiling oil. Someone's dead! Dead! Old Lee! Old Lee he's all shriveled up. The news spreads like plague. Old Lee, the man guarding the tomb, was found on the slope just outside its entrance. The one who discovered him came back crawling in panic, babbling, face as pale as a ghost. He said old Lee's body was curled up, his eyes bulging from their sockets, frozen in an unspeakable terror. But the most horrifying part was his face and arms, skin stretched tight over bone, gray, brown, and dry as dead bark, like a persimmon left to shrivel in the wind for months. It was as if all blood, flesh, and spirit had been sucked out of him in an instant by some monstrous force. Panic surged through the dying town like floodwaters. Magistrate Zhao Wenjiang, overwhelmed, ordered the body hastily collected and the tomb sealed off. He sent guards and what little remained of the town militia to keep anyone from going near. Standing at the yamen gates, facing the frightened masses, he croaked out a promise. It's just foul air that's built up over the years. I've posted guards, it won't happen again. But his bloodshot eyes betrayed the terror lurking behind the lie. The flimsy quarantine and the magistrate's empty words were like paper over a cracked wall, barely holding back the flood. People curled up in corners, clutching what little water they had left, praying that cursed foul air wouldn't come again. Peace lasted only 2 nights. On the 3rd, just past midnight, a scream ripped through Wangjia village in the southern district, sharp, high, and poisoned with agony. A ghost! Help us! Run! You wake with a start, heart pounding so hard it feels like it might explode. Xiaoman stirs in your arms, moaning through her fever. You clamp a hand over her mouth, retreating into the darkest corner behind the statue. Every drop of blood in your body feels frozen. But your ears strain, picking up the faint, broken sounds carried by the wind. Sounds that chill you to the bone. Chewing, wet, greedy chewing. The snap of bones crushed under teeth, and mixed in inhuman growls, like broken bellows gasping for air. You bite your lip hard, the taste of iron flooding your mouth. You don't dare make a sound. Xiaoman trembles in your arms, her burning body pressed against you. By sunrise, the horror in Wangjia village had already spread like wildfire. 3 households, 11 people. Men, women, children all drained dry. Turned into corpses just like old Lee. There was a jagged hole in the courtyard wall, as if smashed open by something immense. Broken wood and long, stiff white hairs, coated in foul black mud, littered the ground. That thing it had escaped the tomb. It had started hunting. The last bit of false hope shattered. Magistrate Zhao Wenjiang had nowhere left to hide. pale as paper. He gathered every man in the county, still able to wield a weapon, yamen, guards, village, militia, even starving peasants with a flicker of courage left in their eyes. Dozens of men with rusty blades, hunting forks, sharpened sticks under the pale afternoon sun. They crept toward Wangjia village. A crude perimeter was set up around the slaughtered homes. You were among them, gripping a makeshift spear, not for the promised rice ration, but for Xiaoman. You needed that food. She had to live. You'd left her with a half-lucid old woman back in the ruined temple, promising to share whatever you got. Waiting was torture. Every second dragged like a blade over flesh. The air stank of fear and sweat. As the sun sank westward, stretching the shadows long, the village turned gold with a sinister glow. Just as nerves reached the breaking point. There! Over there! A wide-eyed militiaman pointed at a clump of dead trees at the village entrance. Every eye snapped to the spot. The branches shook violently as if something massive was forcing its way out. Then, a shape burst forth. Not human. It stood upright, taller than the tallest man. Its entire body blanketed in thick, coarse beast like white fur. Its limbs moved with an unnatural, twitchy speed, despite stiff, twisted joints. Its face was sunken and deformed, skin corpse gray and stretched tight over sharp cheekbones and hollow eyes. No whites in its gaze, only two murky, congealed orbs, dark red and filled with ancient malice. Its lips were withered, pulled back to reveal rows of jagged, yellow-black fangs like daggers. The stench hit like a punch to the gut earth. Rot meat, long gone bad. Fire! Fire! Magistrate Zhao's shout cracked and broke. He had to use every ounce of strength just to scream. The creature didn't even flinch. It simply jerked its head around, and those eyes, clouded red with death, locked straight onto Zhao Wenzheng, the man who had shouted the order. A guttural, inhuman roar erupted from its twisted, fang-filled mouth, like metal scraping against metal. The sound pierced ears and shattered courage. It moved! Those stiff legs suddenly exploded with terrifying power, and like a white whirlwind of death, it hurled itself straight at the magistrate. It was so fast that it left only a blurry streak across everyone's vision. "Stop it! Protect the magistrate!" the head constable screamed, eyes bulging, rushing in with his blade raised. Steel flashed. He swung with everything he had, aiming straight for the creature's neck. Clang! The blade hit with a harsh, metallic screech. It rebounded violently, as if striking solid iron, tearing open the constable's palm. Blood sprayed. The monster's neck? Just a shallow line through the fur, barely a scratch. In the same instant, the creature's claws, 5 curved black talons like venom-coated hooks, punched straight into the constable's chest with zero resistance. Ah! His scream was cut short. The claws ripped free with a sickening splash of blood and shredded organs. His muscular body flopped like a torn sack, crashing to the ground. Chest a gaping, pulsing hole that poured blood onto the scorched earth. His limbs twitched violently. Then his eyes glazed over. The light of life snuffed out in a blink. The air was choked with the stench of blood and innards. Ah! Run! Run! It's a monster. Weapons don't work. The perimeter broke instantly. Guards, militiamen, villagers, all their courage disintegrated before this horror. The instinct to survive overrode all else. Screams of terror and despair erupted as they scattered like ants from a kicked nest, flinging aside weapons, tripping over each other to escape. Zhao Wenzheng was dragged away by 2 personal guards, his face ghost white, too stunned to notice when his hat fell off. But the white-furred beast didn't chase them. It stood still, staring at the fresh blood and flesh on its claws. A guttural, satisfied gurgle rumbled in its throat. Then it bent down, its fangs sinking easily into the constable's still warm neck, greedily sucking. With every swallow, its filthy white fur seemed to shimmer with a slicker, glossier sheen. You ran with the panicked crowd, heart threatening to leap out of your throat, lungs burning. That image of the beast gutting the constable and feasting on his blood kept flashing in your mind. Only one thought remained. Get back to the temple. Find Xiaoman. You stumbled into the ruined temple, half running, half crawling. Chaos had erupted inside. The few who had made it back were crammed into corners, shivering in terror. The air reeked of filth and despair. You shoved through the crowd like a madman and rushed behind the statue. Xiaoman was still there, curled in a nest of hay. Her small body trembled uncontrollably from fever and fear. Her face was burning red, her lips cracked and dry, her breathing shallow and fast. The old woman watching her sat slumped nearby, dazed, muttering the same thing over and over. It's over, it's all over. You dropped to your knees and pulled her into your arms, clutching her burning body tight. The wave of relief hit so hard your legs almost gave out. Tears streamed down your dust-covered face, mingling with sweat and falling onto her feverish forehead. Daddy's here. I'm here. You whispered, voice choked. Your rough palm stroked her damp hair again and again, desperate to offer what little comfort you could. Then a rasping, barely audible voice echoed behind you. It's not foul air, it's a flying jiangshi. You spun around. In a dark corner, slumped against half a crumbling wall, sat a ragged old Taoist. His robe was filthy, soaked in mud and dried blood. One leg was twisted at an unnatural angle, clearly broken. His face was smeared with grime and wrinkles, but his eyes, sunken deep, burned like twin coals, fierce and unblinking, locked not on you, but on Xiaoman in your arm. That gaze cut straight through flesh and bone, stabbing into your soul. Lying jiangshi? You repeated, the foreign words sticking in your throat. A deeper chill than even that creature had given you crawled up your spine. Yes, the old Taoist coughed, dark blood frothing at his lips. He wiped it away with a filthy sleeve, unfazed. Ordinary zombies feed on animals. This beast drank deep from the earth's darkest yin, and now human blood. It's ascended. It can fly. Fly. You couldn't believe it. That thing was massive, stiff and heavy. How could it fly? Its skin is iron, its bones like bronze. Normal weapons can't scratch it. The Taoist wheezed, each word a struggle. Fire might slow it down, but not kill it. His eyes drifted again to Xiaoman. The look in them was complex, filled with sorrow, steely resolve, and a kind of heartbreaking awareness. To truly destroy it, you must use yang to conquer yin. He paused, the words so heavy he could barely speak. The temple fell utterly silent. Even the crying stopped. All eyes turned to him terrified, yet clinging to the hope that this broken man held some salvation. His gaze, sharp as a red-hot spike, locked once more on your sleeping daughter. You need the blood of closest kin, he said, voice rasping like sandpaper on rotten wood. Take the heart's blood. Coat a sword made of lightning struck jujube wood. Aged 100 years, only then can you summon the celestial fire to burn away its evil heart, sever its yin veins, and turn it to ash. Each word hit like a chisel to your heart. Blood of kin, heart's blood. You looked down. Xiaoman lay against your chest, her fevered little face twisted in pain even in sleep. The heat of her body burned through your clothes. Her tiny hand clung tightly to your shirt, the only thing in this world she had to hold on to. No. The scream tore from your throat like a wounded beast, flecked with blood. You held her tight, trembling violently. eyes bloodshot as you glared at the Taoist, ready to tear him apart. Bullshit. You demon. You touch my daughter and I'll kill you. The old man didn't flinch. His face held only a numb kind of pity. Slowly, he raised a trembling hand, pointing to the temple doors, bathed in blood-red sunset light, to the sounds drifting in from the town. Screams. Chaos. Growing closer by the second. Listen, he said softly, but the weight in his voice hit like a hammer. It's feeding. Growing stronger. With every drop of blood, it gets faster, more brutal, more unstoppable. He coughed violently, then gasped. Once it drains 49 lives, it'll form a corpse core. Then it'll rise, fly with the wind. When that happens, this town, no, this whole region will become a hellscape. Nothing will survive. As if to prove him right, another scream rang out, sharper, more hopeless than cut off mid-sound, like crushed in a fist. The crash of collapsing buildings followed, then a tidal wave of shrieks and panicked fleeing. The noise surged like a flood, rushing toward the ruined temple. The last survivors inside broke. Quiet sobs became wails. Some collapsed in despair. Others fell to their knees, praying frantically to any god who might listen. A few simply snapped drooling, eyes vacant. The Taoist no longer looked at you. Instead, he dug deep into his torn robe with shaking hands, and slowly pulled out a short sword. It was about 1.5 feet long, not metal, but deep purple wood, old and heavy with time. The blade was scorched with jagged black lines, like lightning burns. A faint but unmistakable heat pulsed from it, pure, restrained, and ancient. The hilt was wrapped in faded red cord, from which hung a cracked copper coin etched with the 8 trigrams. This sword is called jiangshi, the Taoist whispered, eyes locked on it. Forged from jujube wood, struck by spring lightning on the day of awakening thunder. Tempered by the heavens. It holds a spark of true celestial fire, the flying jiangshi's only weakness. His withered hand trembled as he offered the sword to you, as if it weighed 1,000 pounds. My cultivation is ruined, my blood is spent. I can no longer wield its power. This calamity rests in your hands now. His cloudy eyes met yours one last time. In them swirled a depth like an abyss, the blood of kin, the heart's fire, the only way forward and the cruelest. Before you could speak, he convulsed, dark blood gushing from his mouth. His head slumped against the wall. He was gone. Those eyes, once sharp as lightning, were now dull, staring blankly at the broken ceiling, heavy with sorrow and words left unsaid. Daddy cold. Xiaoman mumbled softly, her little head rubbing against your chest, searching for warmth. Her tiny hand never let go of your shirt. The Taoist lay still. The sword Jingzhe rested beside his hand, silent. Its scorched markings faintly shimmered in the dim light, as if tiny arcs of lightning were dancing beneath the surface. Blood of kin, heart's blood. The old man's final words echoed like a curse in your skull. Each syllable tore at your nerves like hooked wire. You looked down. Xiaoman's breath scorched your skin. Her face fevered and flushed, pressed against you, oblivious to the fate hovering over her. That hand, so small, so soft, yet gripping your shirt with all her strength, as if it were the only thing keeping her afloat in a world gone mad. "Daddy home," she murmured again, voice as faint as a kitten's mew. Home? What home? Outside, the howls of hell surged ever closer. Screams, crashes, bone-crunching thuds, and that sound, the gurgling, teeth-grinding, HRR jocks, growing clearer, closer, and colder. The white-furred monster, the flying jiangshi. It was here, chasing its scattered prey, growing stronger with every feeding. Each drop of blood brought it closer to that terrifying state where it could soar through the skies. Inside the temple, despair thickened like ink, seeping into every corner. The survivors curled up, trembling, their eyes hollow or mad. Some had seen the Taoist hand over that wooden sword. Some had heard the cruel solution. Now, all those eyes like dying men grasping at the last straw locked onto you, filled with frantic hope and desperate pleading, locked onto Xiao Man in your arms. Those stares pierced deeper than the monster's claws, silent, yet screaming. Use her. Use your daughter. Save us. No, no. The broken words squeezed out through your clenched teeth. Your arms tightened around Xiao Man, your nails nearly digging into your own flesh. Your body shook violently from the unbearable weight of the choice. Your vision blurred. On one side was your daughter's burning life. On the other, the lives of dozens behind you, and a future where the surrounding region became a ghostly hell. Both ends of the scale bore more weight than any soul could carry. Boom! The already battered temple doors exploded inward, shattered by an unimaginable force. Splinters and dust shot out like shrapnel. The overwhelming stench of blood and rot surged in like a physical wave, swallowing the temple whole. It was at the door, its towering, twisted frame cloaked in thick, pale fur. Its corpse-gray skin shimmered with death in the dim light. Fangs jutted outward, and its blood-colored eyes, solid like coagulated clots, swept over the cowering crowd like a butcher sizing up lambs for slaughter. Dark red blood, still fresh, soaked its body. A torn chunk of intestine dangled from one claw. The aura it exuded now was even more overwhelming, more vicious than at Wangjia village. Like an icy tide, its killing intent poured out and crushed the very air. Sure! It roared, shaking dust from the rafters with bloodlust. Chaos erupted. All remaining sanity snapped. Driven by primal instinct, people screamed and shoved, scrambling madly for any crevice, any shadow, any place to hide. Trampling, wailing, curses of despair all blending into a scene straight out of hell. The flying jiangshi moved. Its stiff body blurred into a ghostly streak of white, racing straight for the densest cluster of people. One massive claw, fur-covered, nails black and wickedly sharp, sliced through the air with a shriek, aimed at a woman frozen in terror on the floor. Time seemed to slow. Her twisted face, the bloodthirst in the creature's eyes, the razor arc of its claw, Xiaomen's burning warmth in your arms, her tiny fingers gripping your shirt, every thought, every hesitation, every torment vanished. All that remained was cold, brutal resolve. There was no more time. Hesitate, and everyone dies. Even Xiao Man. Ha ha! A roar erupted from deep in your chest, raw, broken, more beast than man. In that split second before the claw struck, your body moved faster than thought. You didn't let go of Xiao Man. Instead, you hurled her sideways with everything you had. Her small body flew like a kite cut loose, tumbling into the shadowed corner behind the statue safer. For now. At the same instant, your other hand flashed like lightning, seizing the short sword Jingje from beside the Taoist's body. It was heavy in your grip, not cold, but warm, charged with something volatile, like thunder poised to strike. No time to think. No time to feel the agony shredding through you. As Xiaoman hit the ground, confused and dazed, her fevered little face turned back toward you. And for the first time, those glazed, heat-filled eyes reflected your face, twisted and savage, like a ghost from hell. You reversed your grip on Jingje, and with all your strength, you drove its scorched, dark violet tip into your own left chest, straight into your heart. Thuck! The sound of steel-piercing flesh was soft, almost delicate, but in your mind, it exploded like thunder. Pain, indescribable pain tore through you, as if even your soul had been skewered. Scalding, molten, hot blood, your heart's blood, gushed from the wound, racing down the sword's engraved lightning grooves. It wasn't red. The moment it touched the blade, it ignited, turning into blinding, molten gold. A force beyond words, pure, overwhelming yang energy, erupted from deep within. Jingje. Ronan. A deep, ancient hum rang out, like a dragon's roar from a forgotten age. The wooden blade turned crimson, glowing hot. The charred lightning scars flared white-hot, and arcs of wild electricity danced across the sword's surface. The entire temple was bathed in a holy, raging light. A strange scent filled the air, burnt wood, like trees split by lightning in a summer storm. It overpowered the monster's rot and death. Everything happened in a flash. The flying jiangshi froze mid-motion, interrupted before it could claim another victim, its blood-red eyes swollen with centuries of hatred reflected. For the first time, that blazing red sword wreathed in lightning, and from its core, a fear older than life surged upward, splashing across its face. It screamed a high, keening shriek of rage and terror. Roar! It abandoned its prey, twisting midair with impossible speed, hurling itself at you. Fangs bared, claws raised. It came not for you, but for the sword in your hand. The one thing that could kill it. It struck like a meteor, faster than sight. This was it. All your pain, all your sacrifices, all your despair, they became this one final blow. Your vision dimmed, your strength ebbed, but your grip on Jingje, now soaked in your golden blood, was unshakable. That monstrous claw could shatter stone. You didn't back down. You stepped forward, twisted, pivoted, poured your last breath, your fury, your grief, everything into your sword arm. It was savage, final, and beautiful. Jingje, blinding red, lightning dancing, became a slash of divine light, cutting through the darkness, through evil, through death. Straight and true, it plunged into the flying jiangshi's gaping, roaring mouth. Thwump! Not a clang, but a sickening sizzle, like red-hot metal piercing rotting flesh. AWWWW urge. Its scream twisted into a howl of agony, beyond imagining. The moment the sword pierced its throat, something ignited inside. Your golden blood surged down the blade, into its body like fire oil set ablaze. The sword's wild arcs of lightning surged inward, finding paths through its veins. Like 1,000 white-hot needles, they erupted from within, tearing it apart. Its massive body went rigid, as if struck by an invisible hammer. Its pale fur blackened, curled, releasing waves of putrid smoke. Beneath the skin, rivers of molten red light surged, like lava, bulging under the surface. Its blood-red eyes cracked, lines of gold fracturing them like shattered glass. Boom! A low, earth-shaking blast tore through the temple. Its chest and belly ballooned outward like a bomb. Fur and flesh ripped like paper, spraying molten gold and stinking black-green ichor in every direction. The very air twisted under the heat. Jingja, now a branding iron plunged into snow, hissed and steamed in its mouth. Its light faded, then died. With a soft clink, it dropped to the floor, blackened, spent. Just a piece of scorched wood, and the invincible flying jiangshi, once death incarnate, convulsed violently. Its massive body collapsed like a bag of rotting meat, boneless, It crashed to the ground, smoking, twitching, covered in burns and gaping wounds. It was over. The black-green sludge that poured from its body hissed as it touched the ground, eating away the dirt like acid. Its blood-red eyes burst completely, leaving behind only two charred, empty sockets. A strange scent, a mix of burnt flesh, rot, and a faint, purified metallic tang, filled the ruined temple. Its massive corpse began to melt, collapsing visibly like a snowman under the noonday sun. Thick black-green liquid oozed from every pore and crack in its body, seeping into the cracked, parched earth. All that remained was a shrinking, smoking, foul humanoid outline. Within a few breaths, that towering figure, once the embodiment of terror, had vanished along with its suffocating aura of malice. Only a pool of putrid, sticky, black-green residue remained, and in the air, a lingering mix of scorched stench and something oddly fresh, like lightning struck wood after a rainstorm. The temple fell into deathly silence. The survivors stood frozen, as if under a spell, staring at the spot where the flying jiangshi had disappeared. Then they turned to look at you still frozen mid-thrust, like a statue. Blood from your chest wound had long soaked through your torn shirt, forming a dark crimson pool at your feet. Waves of searing pain crashed through your mind, each heartbeat sending dizziness and tearing sensations through your body. Your strength bled out with your blood, yet your sword arm remained extended, locked in place, fingers white with strain. Your body leaned slightly forward like a bow, drawn to its limit, and held, trembling but unbroken. Your vision blurred, the outlines of the temple, the crumbling idol, the stunned faces all warped like images seen through water. Only one glimmer of warmth, small and stubborn, cut through the haze, pulling your fading gaze. Slowly, painfully, you turned your neck. That simple motion felt like it drained the last of your strength. Your eyes moved past scattered straw, past drifting dust, and landed on the safest, deepest shadow behind the statue. Shellman was there, curled up tightly. The crash and blinding light must have jolted her awake. No longer fever-dazed, she now looked up, her tiny face flushed with heat, her large eyes wet and glowing, bright from the fever, staring unblinkingly at you. In those eyes, there was no fear, no crying, only a child's blank confusion, untouched by the horror surrounding her. She just watched you silently, watched the spreading red on your chest, watched your motionless, statue-like figure. In that moment, time stretched endlessly. You looked at her innocent little face, at those eyes as pure as mountain springs, and somehow the pain lessened. A strange calm wrapped around your ruined body, warm and heavy, like a tide at nightfall. Your lips twitched upward, ever so slightly. It was barely a smile, broken, fragile. With the last shred of strength, your lips moved silently, trying to form that simplest of syllables, man. But the sound caught in your throat. Only blood came out frothy and red. Darkness, gentle as a tide, washed over your mind at last. Your body collapsed forward like a tree rotted through, crashing onto the cold, dusty temple floor. Dad. A piercing, gut-wrenching cry split the silence, a child's wail, raw with grief. Xiaomen surged forward from the shadows with a strength no one thought she had. She stumbled over dust and straw, bare feet slapping the cold ground. She flung herself onto your fallen body. Hot tears fell like rain, soaking your pale, lifeless face, mixing with the blood at your lips, blooming into a vivid crimson stain. "Daddy, wake up! Please, wake up!" Her tiny hands shook your cold shoulders desperately, her voice warped by fear and sorrow, cut like glass. Around her, the silence shattered. The survivors awoke from their stupor. They saw the dark pool of blood. The man collapsed in it, a charred wooden sword in his chest. The child sobbing atop him. And beyond that, the foul black-green stain where the monster had been vanquished. There were no cheers, no cries of relief, only a crushing silence, thick with sorrow, awe, and reverence. It weighed on every heart like a stone. Then, someone moved slowly, deeply, bowing toward your body. Then, another, and another. Like wheat bending in the wind. In the ruined mountain temple, only Xiaoman's sobs pierced the air, echoing again and again. Through blood, through ashes, through the lingering scent of lightning and death. No one knew how long passed, maybe a day, maybe two. Then, the first drop of rain fell. Cool, heavy. It broke free from the choking clouds and struck the cracked ground with a faint puff of dust. Then a second, a third. The soft patter of rain built into a steady rhythm. After the drought, rain had finally come. It washed over the burned, broken land, over the temple's ruin, trying to cleanse the soil and erase that deep-stained, cursed black-green mark. Rain leaked through the ruined roof, dripping onto the cold floor, forming tiny streams. They flowed past your motionless body, past Jingjae, now blackened and lifeless like charcoal. Xiaoman no longer screamed. Her voice had given out. She curled beside you, clutching your cold arm, pressing her cheek to your lifeless chest, trying to warm it with her own heat. The fever seemed to ebb with the chill of the rain, but her swollen red eyes were empty, now silent, hollow. The rain fell on her face, mixing with the tears still clinging to her cheeks, sliding down in silence. Outside, the rain grew heavier. A hunched figure staggered through the mud, using a crude stick to brace each step. Dr. Zhang from the county yamen. His hair and beard were wild, his robes stained beyond recognition. His face showed the shock of survival and a disturbing obsession. He skirted the desecrated grave pit, its edges still vile despite the rain, and scanned the shattered stone tablets scattered around it. At last, his eyes locked on a black slab half buried in the mud. It wasn't stone or jade, its surface bitingly cold to the touch. On it, carved in long-forgotten, serpentine seal script, were a few ominous lines. Zhang struggled to decipher them. As his cloudy eyes widened, the color drained from his wrinkled face. Pure terror replaced it. Extreme yin breeds the corpse. Those who open the tomb, their kin shall perish. All shall fall within 100 miles. Only a heart broken by love and severed of self, fed to heaven's thunder, shall reduce it to ash. His thin fingers trembled as they traced the cursed words. A rasp escaped his throat, like a dying fish gasping. He suddenly looked up toward the ruined temple. His eyes were wide, filled with horror and the madness of someone who had glimpsed too much truth. Rain washed over the tombstone and down his creased, streaked face, though no one could tell if it was rain or tears. In the temple, Xiaoman shivered slightly, as if sensing something. Still, she clung to your cold arm, as if it were the last piece of the world she had left. The rain cloaked the county, veiling all it had, endured its sorrow, its fear, its sacrifice, and the cruel truth left behind. Only the endless murmur of falling rain remained a silent elegy for the dead, whispered between heaven and earth.